According to the 2023 National Electrical Code, receptacles are generally required in all habitable rooms and areas. This includes hallways, closets, and bathrooms. However, there are exceptions to this general rule. One key exception pertains to closets. Receptacles are not required in closets that are less than 2 feet wide or less than 4 feet deep. Another exception exists for doorway openings. Receptacles are not required in doorway openings that are less than 2 feet wide. Therefore, if a closet opening is exactly 2 feet wide, receptacles are not mandated in the doorway opening itself based on the stated exception in the NEC. It's crucial to consult the latest edition of the NEC and local amendments for the most accurate and up-to-date information, as local codes may vary or introduce additional requirements. The NEC serves as the benchmark for safe electrical installations. Receptacle placement is designed to provide convenient access to electrical power while minimizing potential hazards. Understanding the specific rules regarding receptacle placement, including the exceptions, is essential for code compliance and electrical safety. For instance, consider a hallway. Hallways typically require receptacles at certain intervals to ensure readily available power for cleaning equipment, lamps, or other devices. The spacing requirements are designed to prevent the use of extension cords, which can create tripping hazards and increase the risk of electrical fires. The NEC specifies the maximum distance between receptacles along a wall, ensuring that no point along the wall is further than a certain distance from an outlet. This requirement applies to habitable rooms, hallways, and other areas where receptacles are generally needed. However, the aforementioned exceptions for closets and doorways demonstrate that not all spaces require receptacles. The rationale behind these exceptions is that the utility of receptacles in such small or constricted areas is limited, and the potential hazards associated with installing and using them may outweigh the benefits. In the case of closets, the limited space may make it difficult to safely use electrical appliances or devices. Additionally, the presence of clothing and other flammable materials in a closet increases the risk of fire if an electrical fault occurs. Therefore, the NEC exempts small closets from the receptacle requirement. Similarly, the exception for doorway openings recognizes that receptacles placed in narrow doorways could be easily obstructed or damaged. The limited space and potential for obstruction make such locations unsuitable for receptacle placement. To ensure code compliance, it's essential to carefully measure the dimensions of closets and doorways and to consult the NEC for the specific requirements applicable to those spaces. If a closet exceeds the size limitations specified in the NEC, receptacles may be required. In such cases, the receptacle should be installed in accordance with the NEC general requirements for receptacle placement. This includes ensuring that the receptacles are properly grounded and protected by ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, in certain locations. GFCIs are designed to protect against electrical shock by detecting ground faults and interrupting the circuit. They are commonly required in bathrooms, kitchens, and other areas where there is a high risk of exposure to water. In addition to the size and location of receptacles, the NEC also specifies the type of receptacles that are permitted in certain locations. For example, tamper-resistant receptacles are required in dwelling units to protect children from electrical shock. Tamper-resistant receptacles have internal shutters that prevent foreign objects from being inserted into the slots. These safety features help to minimize the risk of electrical accidents. When planning an electrical installation, it's important to consider all of the applicable NEC requirements, including the general rules for receptacle placement, the exceptions for closets and doorways, and the specific requirements for receptacle type and protection. Consulting with a qualified electrician can help to ensure that the installation is safe, code compliant, and meets the needs of the occupants. Moreover, understanding the reasoning behind these codes enhances overall electrical safety awareness. It is also worth noting the importance of amendments or modifications by local jurisdictions. While the NEC provides a comprehensive national standard, local authorities often adopt and amend these codes to suit their specific needs and conditions. These local amendments can be more stringent or address specific hazards prevalent in the area. Therefore, it is critical to consult the local building department or electrical inspector to determine if there are any local amendments to the NEC that apply to the project. These amendments could relate to receptacle placement, wiring methods, grounding requirements, or other aspects of the electrical installation. Ignoring local amendments can result in code violations and safety hazards. Electrical codes are not static documents. They evolve over time to incorporate new technologies, address emerging safety concerns, and improve the overall safety of electrical installations. The NEC is typically updated every 3 years to reflect these changes. It is essential to stay informed about the latest edition of the NEC and any applicable local amendments to ensure that electrical work is performed in accordance with the most current standards. This includes not only understanding the specific requirements but also the underlying principles and rationale behind them. For example, the NEC requirements for grounding and bonding are designed to minimize the risk of electrical shock by providing a low impedance path for fault current to return to the source. This helps to ensure that overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses, will operate quickly to interrupt the circuit in the event of a fault. Understanding these principles helps to ensure that electrical installations are not only code compliant but also safe and reliable. The NEC also addresses the issue of arc fault circuit interrupters, or SIs. SIs are designed to protect against electrical fires caused by arcing faults. Arcing faults can occur when damaged or deteriorated wiring creates a high-resistance connection, which can generate excessive heat and ignite nearby combustible materials. SIs detect these arcing faults and interrupt the circuit, preventing a fire from starting. The NEC requires SIs in many circuits throughout the home, particularly in bedrooms and living areas. This requirement has significantly reduced the number of electrical fires in recent years. In addition to receptacles, the NEC also addresses the placement of lighting outlets. Lighting outlets are required in habitable rooms, hallways, stairways, and other areas to provide adequate illumination for safety and convenience. The NEC specifies the minimum number of lighting outlets required in each room, as well as the location of these outlets. For example, lighting outlets are typically required near doorways and stairways to provide illumination for entering and exiting the space. The NEC also addresses the issue of lighting control. Lighting controls, such as switches and dimmers, are required to provide convenient and safe control of lighting fixtures. The NEC specifies the location of these controls as well as the type of controls that are permitted in certain locations. For example, 3-way switches are required at the top and bottom of stairways to allow for convenient control of lighting from both locations. In summary, understanding the NEC requirements for receptacles, lighting outlets, and lighting controls is essential for ensuring the safety and functionality of electrical installations. Consulting with a qualified electrician and staying informed about the latest edition of the NEC and any applicable local amendments can help to ensure that electrical work is performed in accordance with the most current standards. This includes not only understanding the specific requirements but also the underlying principles and rationale behind them. The goal is to create electrical systems that are safe, reliable, and meet the needs of the occupants. The code is a minimum standard. Additional measures may be warranted to enhance safety or convenience depending on the specific application and the preferences of the homeowner or building owner. For example, adding additional receptacles in a room can reduce the need for extension cords and improve the usability of the space. Similarly, installing occupancy sensors to control lighting can save energy and improve convenience. The key is to balance code compliance with the specific needs and desires of the occupants while maintaining a focus on safety and reliability. When performing any electrical work, it's crucial to prioritize safety. Always turn off the power to the circuit before working on any electrical components. Use properly insulated tools and equipment, and wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses and gloves. If unsure about any aspect of the electrical work, consult with a qualified electrician. Electrical work can be dangerous if not performed properly, and it's always better to err on the side of caution. Following these safety guidelines can help to prevent electrical shock, fires, and other hazards. In addition to the technical requirements of the NEC, it's also important to consider the aesthetic aspects of electrical installations. Receptacles, switches, and lighting fixtures should be chosen to complement the overall design of the space. The placement of these components should also be carefully considered to ensure that they are both functional and visually appealing. For example, aligning receptacles horizontally can create a more uniform and aesthetically pleasing appearance. Similarly, choosing lighting fixtures that complement the style of the room can enhance the overall design. By paying attention to both the technical and aesthetic aspects of electrical installations, it is possible to create spaces that are both safe, functional, and beautiful. The information provided is intended for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer before undertaking any electrical work. Electrical codes and regulations vary by location, and it is essential to comply with all applicable requirements. Failure to do so can result in code violations, safety hazards, and legal liabilities. Electrical work should only be performed by qualified individuals who have the necessary training, experience, and licenses.